With several of the country's top college football programs still pursuing targets in February, we saw some movement in the top 10 national recruiting classes on Wednesday's signing day.
Tennessee had a big day as the Volunteers flipped four-star Florida State receiver recruit Malachi Weidman. Texas landed the gem of its class in getting five-star defensive end Alfred Collins, beating out Oklahoma.
Texas A&M made a big splash in signing four-star defensive tackle McKinley Jackson, who some in the industry considered an Alabama lean.
After the dust settled, here's how USA Today Sports thinks the top 10 classes shook out.
With five-star offensive lineman Broderick Jones and four-star offensive lineman Cedric Van Pran officially signing with Georgia, the Bulldogs locked in the best 2020 recruiting class in the country. And that comes despite Sam Pittman leaving the staff to take the head coaching job at Arkansas. 11 of the country's top 100 recruits, according to the 247 Sports Composite, are headed to Georgia. And 6'8", five-star tight end Darnell Washington, who signed in December, is one of the most intriguing prospects in the whole class.
Clemson had our #1 recruiting class after the December early signing period. The Tigers didn't do anything wrong, Georgia simply had a great January and February. Dabo Swinney still brings in the #1 overall player in the country in defensive tackle Brian Bresee, as well as the #1 pro-style quarterback in the country in DJ Uiagalelei. It's a balanced class, with 5 stars behind center, on the defensive line, at running back and at linebacker.
Alabama had a shot at the #1 class ranking, but it missed on high-profile targets in 4-star defensive tackle McKinley Jackson and 4-star cornerback Ennis Breakstraw, and Oregon flipped one of its verbal pledges in 4-star defensive tackle Jason Jones. Still, Nick Saban and company is bringing yet another star-studded class to Tuscaloosa. Bryce Young, the country's #1 dual-threat quarterback, headlines the group, which includes 10 prospects in the 247 Sports Composite's top 100.
Ed Orgeron turned the momentum from a national championship season into a top 5 national recruiting class. He and the Tigers did most of their work in the early signing period, with 5-star tight end Eric Gilbert, the gem of the class, already on campus. LSU had a shot to jump higher in this top 10 if it had flipped South Carolina 5-star defensive end recruit Jordan Birch, but he stuck with his home state Gamecocks.
The Buckeyes closed their 2020 recruiting class strong Wednesday by signing 4-star athlete Cameron Martinez, who had been verbally committed since July. Ohio State did especially strong work on the offensive line in this class, signing 6 prospects at the position, 1 5-star, 1 4-star and 4 3-stars. It also added 4 receivers, including 2 5-stars in Julian Fleming, the 247 Sports Composite's #3 overall prospect, and Jackson Smith-Njigba.
Recruiting, where top 25 football prospects in 2020 class are signing.
Signing day breakdown: ACC, Big 12, Big 10, SEC.
Opinion: sit back and enjoy as college football coaches are triggered by transfer rule.
The Aggies made a big splash Wednesday by beating out the likes of Alabama, Auburn and LSU for Jackson, the 4-star defensive tackle out of Mississippi. They also needed to add another running back in 2020, and they did just that by signing 3-star Arizona prospect Darvin Hubbard, a former Ohio State recruit who held 18 offers from Power 5 programs. Texas A&M did particularly well in its secondary, adding a 5-star safety, a 4-star safety, a 4-star cornerback and one of the country's top junior college cornerbacks.
Dan Mullen and his staff finished their 2020 class with a bang Wednesday by signing 4-star defensive end Princely Umanmielen, who picked the Gators over Baylor, Oklahoma and Texas. They did miss on a couple targets Wednesday in 4-star safety Avante Williams and 4-star defensive end DeMarcus Beckwith. Still, this class is securely in the top 10 thanks to talents such as 5-star defensive tackle Gervon Dexter and stable of 16 4-star recruits.
Auburn continued to tap into the junior college market with its 2020 class, signing Iowa Western defensive tackle Marquis Burke on Wednesday. He adds to an already formidable group of 4 JUCO transfers, which includes 4-star Blinn College cornerback Marco Domio, whom the 247 Sports Composite considers the country's #7 overall JUCO prospect. Fans will probably be most excited about 4-star, 210-pound running back Tank Bigsby, who's already on campus.
Texas jumped up to number 9 with the huge addition of five-star defensive end Alfred Collins, who picked his home state Longhorns over Oklahoma. He also had considered Alabama. Texas did miss on Rakestraw and UMass, but Collins is just such a big win, especially considering it beat the Sooners for him. The Longhorns also already have four-star, home state quarterback Hudson Card on campus. He's 247 Sports Composites number 2 dual-threat quarterback.
Jeromy Pruitt has the Volunteers in the top 10 thanks largely to two significant splashes on Wednesday. The really big one is four-star receiver Malachi Weidman, a Florida State verbal recruit who flipped to Tennessee over programs such as Oregon and Ole Miss. Earlier in the day, Tennessee also got a big get in DeMarcus Beckwith, who picked the Volunteers over Florida and Kentucky.